think I first picked up a guitar when I was around, well, actually, I first touched a guitar when I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, maybe somewhere around there. My mime, my grandmother, she had this, I think it was like a knockoff Gretsch type of guitar, and that was the first guitar that I ever picked up and messed around with. I'd love to get my hands on that guitar nowadays. I have no idea. A cousin of mine got it at one point in time, and I don't know like what happened to it at that point, but it's gone now as far as I know. But that was the first guitar I ever like played, like just strummed. I remember I would like play out the open strings and I think I was playing Stairway to Heaven. So that was the first time I ever actually played a guitar, I think. When I started actually like getting into guitar, like actually playing guitar, was probably more around 10, between, more like 12. When I was around 12 years old, then I actually kind of cared and wanted to play guitar. And I think that's around the time I got my Washburn, maybe 13, 14, around there. I got my Washburn electric, which was a red Washburn, you know, basic production model.
After Jada Man, I can do my rap.
This guy named Jason Carlone, who was a friend of mine, and he spent a lot of time at my house because his family had problems, and he just kind of lived with me at my house for quite a few years. And he was into guitar, and we used to just learn how to play Metallica songs, and I would teach him Metallica songs because he was a big fan of Metallica. But yeah, those are my early days playing guitar. And I actually took lessons as well. I took lessons from this place called Friends Music that was in Westport, Massachusetts. And it was close to where I lived. And my parents, you know, they got me lessons and I paid, and I used to go. I never really, like, I never wanted to learn all the theory and stuff. I mean, the teacher was trying to teach me theory and everything, but all I ever really did was bring in songs that I wanted to learn how to play, and he would figure them out and teach me how to play them. That's kind of all I ever did. I've always been really good with my ear, like hearing stuff and then figuring it out. So that's how I personally learned how to play, was just listening to music and then figuring out how to play it. And that's my style of music. And I mean, that we're going back to like 1987, 1988, around there, when I actually first started playing guitar. So it's a while back. But yeah, for me, that was the start of my guitar life, you know. At a certain point, when I was around 15 years old, I became friends with a couple of guys. This guy named Arthur Albanez was the first person I became friends with. And he was an amazing guitar player. I mean, at like 16 years old, because we jump ahead a little bit here, but at like 16 years old, he was like Zakk Wylde at 16 years old. He was obsessed with Ozzy, and he learned how to play like everything Zakk Wylde could play, and he was amazing. Like, he could play Zakk Wylde solos, like he learned how to play all the Randy Rhoads stuff, and he played it note perfect. And I didn't even, like, I had no clue how to play that kind of stuff. Like, I couldn't play those types of solos and stuff like that. I was always more of a rhythm player, and, you know, kind of pentatonic licks and rhythm playing, and I mean, still kind of am. But I mean, he was amazing. Arthur Albanez, he was kind of like my first real inspiration for guitar. I mean, when people ask me like, what was your inspiration to play guitar, I say like, well, of course, Jimmy Page was like my first big one. And Jimmy Page and Slash were like, they were like the two that made me want to play guitar. I wanted to play like them, basically, is what it boiled down to. But yeah, as far as like real life inspiration, my real life inspiration was Arthur Albanese. Like, he was an amazing guitar player. And like, I just wanted to be as good as him. And we all played crappy guitars back then. He played like this like Sears catalog looking red Strat thingy. I don't even remember exactly what it was, what kind of Strat it was, but it was something that you know, it wasn't an amazing guitar. It was something that was bought locally. And looking back on it now, he played that through a PV Renown amp with a 12-inch speaker. And I ended up with a PV Bandit 112 that I was playing. We were playing, you know, in this band that we called Sinister, me, him, and who became my best friend, Peter Lambert, who I would, you know, still to this day is my best friend. And we recorded music ever since then. So, yeah. But Arthur was really like my first, Artie was really like my first influence on guitar. Like, I just wanted to play as good as him because he played amazing. And, you know, he was always like the guitar player, and I was kind of like the second fiddle, like trying to catch up, you know what I mean? So I started, I became friends with this guy named Peter Lambert, and through Arthur Albanese, we used to hang out at his house, and we were in bands together, and we just, you know, made up our own music and stuff like that. And me and him started kind of writing our own music. Like around that time when I was like 16, I think, just about 16, like 15 or 16, I got this Ovation 12-string acoustic guitar as a Christmas present. And I remember getting that guitar for Christmas and being like, wow, this is amazing. This is, you know, this thing is so cool, like to have a 12-string acoustic. And I mean, I was the only one playing 12-string acoustic like back when I was growing up, because so there was this 12-string thing, like Skid Row used to use 12 strings when they played like I Remember You Live. There was just this 12-string thing floating around the metal scene. Some of those guys were using 12-string guitars. So it was kind of cool to have a 12-string, it was an electric acoustic actually, Ovation. The plastic round body, I still have it to this day actually. I've basically pulled all the strings off of it and made it a 6-string, but I do still have the 12-string acoustic. The original. I don't have the original electric anymore. I have like the neck for it, and that's about it. I took it apart to redo it, and my parents lost all the pieces, and it stayed in their attic, and it's gone. But I did find the neck, so it was kind of interesting to me that I had the neck for this thing. Yeah, so me and Peter Lambert, we started just hanging out more outside of Artie. Like, we kind of developed our own friendship outside of Arthur. And he played piano, and I had just gotten this 12-string acoustic. So we started making up this music. We called it Dragon's Fire, which is funny because years later, Metallica would use the term Dragon's Fire in, I think, Enter Sandman. And everybody would think we took the name of our band from that, but we called ourselves Dragon's Fire long before Enter Sandman.
heart is bleeding. Last night I saw you within my house, climbing the steps to the attic. Julia's here, God let her be. Julia's near, help her be free. For a sentence which commands her to live.
What we were writing were like mystical sounding tunes, you know. They had kind of like this mystical vibe about them, and I don't know how to describe it other than that. I always remember the story of when we auditioned for the high school variety show. It was in this cafeteria, and my buddy Pete, I mean, he was like a showman. That was always his thing. I mean, he went off to theater college after that. But I remember us auditioning a couple of our songs. We also played Jack and Diane by John Cougar Mellencamp, and everybody thought that was cool because, you know, everybody knew that song. You live in a small town, everybody knows Jack and Diane by John Cougar Mellencamp. So I remember him, it was a cafeteria, and there were the cafeteria tables, and they had the band set up in the front, and people were just auditioning. And I remember us playing the songs, but him jumping up on the tables and singing in people's faces, and like dancing on the tables and singing in people, like it was like a freaking club show, and he like went full out in people's faces, and it really impressed people, and they were like, wow, these guys are awesome, they've got tons of energy and stuff like that. So we got into the variety show, and we got to play the variety show.
I'm gonna take time out right now to introduce the band. On bass guitar, this is Adi Albanez. Probably saw his excellent performance before. Hi, Mom. Over there on drums, we got Jim Dyer. My name's Pete. No applause, just no money. I'll play a song for you called Up in Smoke. There we go, 2 years ago. And I want to introduce the man that's been with me since the beginning. Jay the Man.
Years later, we actually finally got around to recording those songs proper. We had recorded them in high school using like a stereo cassette player and just like record one track and then put it in the other tape deck and then plug in. We were plugging into the mic input on a stereo cassette deck. It was like a Marantz cassette deck. And yeah, the stuff sounded horrible. It was like Hiss City, but that's how we used to do it. That's how we used to do our 4-track recording back then. Until my sister got a karaoke machine. My sister got a karaoke machine for like a Christmas present or a birthday present or something. And we pretty much bogarted that karaoke machine. And we used to use that all the time because you could plug into the inputs on the front of that. You could like mic something, plug into the inputs, play the tape back, and then go to the next one because it was made so you could record your voice over the music. So we would do that over and over again. And I mean, that was our track recording setup. And years later, I got a Tascam 4-track recorder, which, oh man, as soon as that Tascam 4-track showed up, it was like real recording. You know, we were recording studio albums at that point. But no, me and Peter did a lot of that. We had Dragonspire, and then we had this other thing we called Nerdy Warts, which was us just being really silly and making a lot of noise and just recording silly music. But oddly enough, Nerdy Warts kind of stood the test of time because as years went on, we developed Nerdy Warts into like a band, a real thing. And that kind of stood the test of time, and it was kind of like Ween or Beck or something like that. And that's kind of what we turned Nerdy Warts into. But Nerdy Warts became like a thing amongst our friends and amongst some people we knew. They knew me and Peter were Nerdy Warts, and you know, we used to dress up in costume and play shows as Nerdy Warts. Didn't play too many, but we played a few. Those were the early days for me. That was like my coming up through in guitar, you know. My high school years, that's what I did. Aside from that, me and my buddy Pete used to make horror movies with an old VHS camera and friends, and we made all these short films and stuff like that. But that's a whole other side of my personality, like the movie making side. But the guitar playing side, the music side, it was Dragonspire and Nerdy Warts, and then we eventually didn't talk to Arthur Albanese as much anymore, and we kind of we hung out with some new people, and they weren't too keen on the fact that all we wanted to do was play our original music, but they just wanted to play covers. They wanted to play Led Zeppelin songs and Skid Row songs and everything that. They wanted to have a cover band, but we didn't really want to do the cover band thing. We just wanted to do our own music. It's always kind of been that way, like write and record our own music, and that's what we wanted. But that was the early years, like back when I was learning how to play guitar. And at that point, I mean, I was just learning, and we're talking, this is like around 93, 92, 93 or so, when I graduated from high school. So the next phase of my guitar life, so to speak, would have come after I graduated from high school. My best friend Peter, who had been my writing partner, my music partner for many years, decided that he was going to go to college. So he went off to college and I was here and I didn't really know what to do with myself. So I grabbed my buddy who was a little younger than me, a guy named Jim Diot, who was a drummer. And he played with me and Peter in the band Nerdy Warts when we did a live show with the drummer. Because he used to use backing tracks for a lot of that stuff, it was like this electronic rhythms. But we did do a show with him as the drummer. I said, hey, let's put a band together. I grabbed my friend from the early years who used to hang out with me and kind of lived at my house, my buddy Jay Carlone. I said, hey, you want to play bass in this band? And I got him to play bass in the band. We formed this band which eventually was called Lifedrain. It started out as a trial. We had these 2 female singers, and that just didn't work out because they didn't take it seriously. And they were just kind of goofing off, and we were trying to put together a real band. This was during the grunge era. So you get to like 94, 95, around there, and this is when grunge was kind of a big thing. So the idea of a 3-man band, like Nirvana, was huge. So okay, we can do this. I can sing and play guitar, and I got a bassist and a drummer, and that was what Lifedrain was. We were a 3-person band. Our kind of like little DIY. It wasn't really punk because we played a mixture of like metal-ish punk kind of stuff. Like, I don't really know how to describe it other than that. But yeah, we played local clubs, we played some gigs, and we got a little following, and it was actually kind of cool. was a good period. Like, you know, that couple year period there where I was doing Lifedrain, and that was like, you know, my band. I put together the band, and we were doing our own music, we were writing our own music, and we were playing out and everything. And all throughout this, Peter would come back, and we had a period where we didn't talk for a little while, but all throughout this, he would come back, and we would always record some new Nerdy Warts music, because Nerdy Warts was always in the background. Dragon's Fire kind of faded out in high school, but Nerdy Warts was always in the background. And we would record this music and play, you know, and it was you know, it was always like, oh, new Nerdy Warts album coming out, you know, which was our version of an album, which would be recorded on a 4-track, and it would be something. But that music is held up to this day. That music has kind of stood the test of time. It's crazy Ween-esque music. And Lifedrain was a thing. We did it for a while, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But then Peter came back from college. He decided to leave college, and he came back. At the time he came back because there was a group of guys up in the Providence area that he had met through a friend, and they had put a band together. I had helped out these guys too for they were doing a cover band, but it just never worked out for us. And they started writing their own original music, and they formed a band called Room 18. And at that point, I was getting very heavily into filmmaking. So I decided I was just gonna follow Room 18 around, and I was gonna film everything that Room 18 did. I was gonna be the band's videographer, because it gave me a reason to be around the band, because I wasn't actually in the band at that point.
Hello, thanks for sticking around, folks. We're Room 18 out of Providence, Rhode Island. Thank you all, and now let's experience some puppy treats. What do you say?
What are your thoughts on the day?
If the place is locked up and we can't record today, we'll break the windows.
The director of this teen center wants to talk to you guys in a couple minutes.
You know, you don't want to say anything or shoot foul or shoot scene.
I don't give a shit, I'll swim.
I want to fuck everyone in this building. And all Marlon kept saying the whole time is biting his fingernails and saying, I hate confrontations. Is this the moment when the band breaks up?
It's a conspiracy.
I want you guys to play Friday. I'm saying about it at 12:45.
Right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm nervous we're not going to have people coming to the show, because it's at 1 in the morning.
Would you like to buy a Room 18 tape? They're the band that just played.
We're already there for the time.
I think it's good enough to even put into Sundance or something like that, because it's something different.
Yeah, I've got almost a half an hour's worth of the first part done.
Do you like the ploy, the lies, the blatant lies? Help filmmaker Jason Byrne, who has worked with Harmony Korine, Lydia Lunch, and the Revolting Cops, make his new documentary tentatively titled,
What can you say about your fans?
One word describes it, and that would be drunk.
Get fucked!
There was too much screaming for alternative rock music.
We're not alternative rock, and I'm gonna scream more. And I'm doing the best I can, okay?
Well, they did the sound check for you guys. Check for you guys.
Maybe they done the sound check so badly, they were willing to set the stuff up and just take it off so he could get on there. Because normally the first band does sound check.
I think this could cause a little bit of discomfort between the bands.
Down my street at night, I say those things that should be clearer. Trying to ignore myself, trying but I can't like this. Make believe we're in Tinsel Town. People coming up from the ground, where you can see through selfish lies, breaking all.
Do you think the band will make it? Do you think they'll eventually get signed?
And I eventually became a member of the band Room 18, because they wanted to bring on a second guitarist after they recorded their debut CD. They wanted to bring a second guitarist on, and that's when I became a member of Room 18. At that point, I needed a better guitar. So I do remember that was my first real guitar that I bought. I actually went with my dad to a place called Rick's Music. It was up in Seekonk, I think. Seekonk, Mass, yeah. And we went there, and it was like $600 or $700. I remember I think my dad helped me like charge it or something like that. He helped me get credit for it, and I had to pay it off. And I got this, it was an Epiphone Les Paul, because I was a huge fan of Jimmy Page and and slash. So I wanted a Les Paul. It was sort of like a 59 style Les Paul. And that was my first real guitar. That guitar stuck with me for many, many years until I made some modifications on it and all of a sudden it didn't want to play as good as it used to. So I decided, okay, that guitar's gone. But, and now I have a whole bunch of guitars, so it doesn't really matter anyway. But yeah, so that was like my first real guitar, the Epiphone Les Paul that I had. And I played that guitar on everything, man. We played tons of shows with Room 18. We went out to California, we played the Roxy, the Whiskey. We got some attention out there. We were almost gonna move out there, but then we didn't stay out there because some of the guys in the band, not me or Peter, but some of the other guys in the band didn't want to move. So we really wanted to move, and we thought if we lived in California, we could do something as Room 18, and that's just one of those regrets, you know? It never happened.
All right.
We come back here and we don't know what the hell to do with ourselves, so Room 18 kind of disbanded. Me and Peter put all of our effort back into Nerdy Warts again, and we started recording a Nerdy Warts album, another Nerdy Warts album. We called it Bizarre Portuguese.
Hey, remember me? I stole your seat on the bus the other day. You moved away from me and now I'm stuck inside, wondering if you know my name. Say, how do you do it? I ate your bowl of soup when you weren't looking. You shine a light on me and now I see you there, running all my fingers through your hair. You keep building up, making me strong, and you're making me better when I move along. God, you keep me tied up, take it to the limit, baby. I'm drinking, driving, too many people listen. See, I am behind again. Up, making me strong, and you're making me better when I move along. God, you keep me tied up, take it to the limit, baby. I'm drinking, driving, too many people listen. See, I am behind. Hey, now you're better. Did you get my flowers and my letters? I'm sorry I came here, but I know you care, and I see it's difficult to say. Clothes, I'll undo them. It doesn't matter much, cause I can see through them. You're passing out on me, and now the cops are near, and I fear I won't see you again. Keep building up, making me strong, and you're making me better when I move along. God, you keep me tied up, take it to the limit, baby. I'm drinking, driving, too many people listen. See, I am behind. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm drinking, driving when I'm moving right along. You keep me tied up, take it to the limit, baby. I'm drinking, driving, too many people listen. See, I am behind again.
And that was kind of like our best period, musically speaking. That was right before we decided, me, my friend Peter, and my now wife, Katie, who's my girlfriend at the time, that we were gonna move to Chicago. And then we moved to Chicago, and that's a whole different period of my life. I was working in the theater, I was a projectionist for many years. Yeah, and I mean, music was always there. At that point, I started doing a lot of my own solo work because we were doing Nerdy Warts stuff, me and Peter still, but he was busy trying to living his own life. But we were always hanging out, we were always together. So at Chicago was kind of where like the solo career part of my life actually started. And I started recording my own music on my own, writing all my own stuff. And that brings us to today. So now, I mean, it's been many years. I mean, I've had a kid, my life has moved on. Peter lives in New York, we still hang out when he comes down. We've recorded some Nerdy Warts stuff, but otherwise it's been me recording my own solo music since that time, which was more like the mid 2000s really. We lived in Chicago. It was the mid 2000s, and me and my wife moved back to. Well, we live in New Bedford, Massachusetts. But we moved back to Massachusetts because we were living in Chicago. We weren't really happy out there, and we wanted to be close to our families, so we moved back here. Peter stayed out in the city, and yeah, and then it became life kind of took a different turn, and you know, music is always a part of my life. Guitar has always been a part of my life. It's always there. It's always in my life. It's those guitars, one guitar or another, which I mean I have pieces of left basically, have led me through different phases of my life. They were always there, like the back burner to that situation or that thing that was going on in my life, be it the red Washburn or the Epiphone Les Paul. I mean, and now I have like 7 guitars, and it's like, I mean, I love my guitars. They're great guitars, and I play them all the time. And I mean, I make my own YouTube channel, and I do this, and I talk to people now. And why did I do this? Why did I decide to do a YouTube channel? I love playing guitar. I got kind of obsessed with gear and guitar at a certain point over the past couple of years, and I was like, you know, I can do this. I can sit in front of a camera and I can talk about guitars and demo pedals and do stuff like that. I love movies too, and now I'm doing stuff with movies as well, and people are paying attention. I mean, I don't have a ton of subscribers, but I've got a decent base of subscribers, enough to make this worthwhile for me to keep making videos for now, and maybe it'll become something else, but who knows. But yeah, so my guitar life. Guitar has guided me through every step of my life. Music has been there and guitar has been there, and it's always a constant. It's like you can put it down for a couple of months and you come right back to it, and that's what leads me into the next phase of my development. Hell, I made a couple of independent horror films, and I scored them all myself. I've recorded all the background music for most of the movies, and I mean, it's just what I do. It's just, I play guitar, so. Alright, so if you like this kind of content, like, subscribe. I hope you liked that. I hope you thought that was interesting. I just thought it would be kind of cool to tell my story, because I mean, I got people who watch these videos, and who is this guy? What is it all about? I've kind of told my story a little bit here and there through my amp videos and that kind of stuff, and I don't know. Just thought it would be a cool thing to do, and it was time to do it, and I felt like doing it. So there it is, my guitar life. And if you like this, leave a comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. You got some cool stories from your life regarding guitars and how they've led you through your life. Cool? All right then, take it easy, and I'll see you next time.